that I need to know about what lies before me, everything that I need to know about what lies before me is available to me, is available to me in the mind of God within me. Everything that I need to be at peace about what lies before me, everything that I need to be at peace about what lies before me is available to me, available to me through the mind of God within me. Everything that I need to know about what lies before me, everything that I need to know about what lies before me is available to me. It's available in the mind of God within me. Everything that I need to be at peace about what lies before me, everything that I need to be at peace. What lies before me is available to me, available to me. The God within me. Thank you. Nothing is ever lost. We are not forgotten. We are living in the heart of God. Nothing is ever lost. We are not forgotten. We are living in the heart of God. We are living. We are living. We are living in the heart of God. We are living. We are living. Living in the heart of God. Morning sun coming through the trees, green leaf shimmer, summer breeze, songbirds singing to the honeybees, living in the heart of God. We're living, living in the heart of God. We are living, living in the heart of God. After the dazzle of the day is done, the moon makes love to the setting sun. Stars come twinkling one by one, living in the heart of God. We are living, living in the heart of God. We are living, living in the heart of God. We are living, living in the heart of God. We are living, living in the heart of God. Living in the heart of God. We are living in the heart of
Good morning. Welcome To all of you, so good to see you here. The spring rains are upon us. If you didn't on your way in, fill out a little affirmation to put into an Easter egg. I welcome you to do so on your way out. You'll see those again on Easter Sunday. We are an open-minded and open-hearted spiritual community that welcomes and embraces each individual as an expression of the divine. And so now I'd like to take a moment to welcome our newcomers. Anyone here for the first time? Yay! Glad you are with us today. Good day to come. Good day to get to be here. You are new, or if you are joining us for the second or third time and you wish to, please take a moment to fill out a connection card and place it in the offering basket so that we can stay in touch with you. Anybody here for the second time? Yeah? Good. Welcome back. Glad you're with us. And for those of you that are joining us online, we'd like to welcome you. Give a wave to those that are joining online. And don't forget to like and share those of you that are online, our online community. So I'd like to take a moment to do our welcome blessing. For those that are new, for all of us, the second timers, those that are online, we love you, we bless you, we welcome you, and we behold the Christ you are. So you might notice that we have a speaker with us today, Dr. Tuttle and his beautiful wife, Madeline. Dr. Tuttle will be joining us and giving our speaking today, but he will also be offering a workshop this afternoon at 1:15, and then another piano passion concert that will be happening tomorrow at 7 p.m. Dr. Tuttle is a composer, a pianist, educator, and author of the best-selling book, The World Peace Diet. His book has been published in 18 different languages. He's devoted to providing uplifting and healing original music and to helping people awaken their inner wisdom and genius. He has a PhD in education from the University of California at Berkeley, focusing on education intuition. He taught college courses in philosophy, humanities, mythology, creativity, and comparative religion. He is also a former Zen monk and Dharma master in the Korean Zen tradition. Currently, he's conducting a music, art, and education ministry with his wife, Madeline, a visionary artist from Switzerland. Madeline specializes in painting that celebrates the beauty of animals and nature. You can see some of her paintings back here. She's also a flautist and Waldorf teacher. They are traveling and providing lectures, concerts, and workshops throughout North America and worldwide, inspiring art prints, cards, and books, as well as recordings of original piano music. So please join me in a warm welcome to Dr. Tuttle and his wife, Madeline. Thank you for being with us today. Ooh, I got moved by spirit. Could feel it coming out. All right, please join me in the vision statement. We are an ever-expanding community, love and acceptance, where lives are transformed.
And now we'll ask you to stand. Let's keep that energy going as we sing our congregation song. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, me know that love is all around. Let me know that love is all around me. Oh, let me know that love is all around me. There you go. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way. Let me live in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me learn from all the ways I've grown. Let me learn from all the ways I've grown. Oh, let me know that love can heal us all. Let me know that love can heal us all. Oh, let me know that love can heal us all. Let me know that love can heal us all. Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me serve in a holy, holy way. Let me serve in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me serve in a holy, holy way. Let me serve in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me know that good is overflowing. There you go. Oh, let me serve in a holy, holy way. In a holy, holy way. And while we're still standing, one thing we skipped was the congregation hug and greet each other. So turn and say hello to someone next to you. Say hello, say good morning. Reach out and give a touch.
As we pray, please allow my words to be your own. I open my heart and mind to what is available for me in this moment. I recognize that there is only one power and one presence in this universe, God the Good. God is the I am, and I, along with everyone and everything, are the I am. God is love. I am love. I am that part of God that no one else is. As such, I realize that as that part of God that no one else is, it is important that I show up in this world to do what I am called to do what is mine to do, to be that I am for myself and for everyone. I am not insignificant. I am as important as the sun. How do I know? Because I am here. The beauty and purpose of me cannot be hidden or diminished. I am. So let us fill our hearts with gratitude and say thank you. Thank you for my life. Thank you for every skill, talent, and blessing that you have bestowed upon me. Thank you for every experience in my life that has brought me to this moment. Thank you for all the good in my life and for always leading me to my higher good. I live to be, to love, to experience, and to serve my higher purpose. And so it is. Amen.
It is enough to know. It is enough to know. It is enough to know God is love. It is enough to be in this majesty. It is enough to be here with God. I rest my weary soul beside these still waters. It is enough. It is enough to know. And I alone can never hope to solve this mystery. It is enough. It is enough to be. It is enough to know. It is enough to know. It is enough to know that God is love. Dee-dee-dee. 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 It is enough to be here in this majesty. It is enough to be here with God. It is enough to know. It is enough to know. It is enough to know that God is love. That God is love. Dee-dee-dee. Dee-dee-dee. Dee-dee-dee.
Thank you. Beautiful. Thank you. It's enough to know. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this morning. And I'd like to begin the talk with a short piece of music myself. This is a piece of original music called Dance for the Arctic Moon, and it's dedicated to the sacred feminine dimension of consciousness. The moon cross-culturally represents the feminine, and of the four directions, the north is the direction typically of contemplation and going within. So I'd like to dedicate this piece of music to the healing of all of our relations, to connecting with our internal intuitive wisdom that is based on the receptive power of the sacred feminine, and just invite all of us as we're listening to the music to let the music take us on a journey and send our healing love out into Austin and beyond. So thanks so much. This is Dance for the Arctic Moon. Enjoy. Thank you. Thank you very much. And yes, it's such an honor to be here. I think this is the first time we've been to Unity here in the hills. And my wife Madeline and I have been traveling now for many years. I think it's getting close to 40 years, somewhere in there, to Unity churches. And I always think it's great to remember that we're part of a larger movement. And I think it's one of the healthiest movements on our planet at the moment because it's relatively simple and straightforward, and it's based really on this profound understanding of inclusion, of this sort of radical inclusion, that we not only include everyone is welcome here, but also the sense of including all the wisdom traditions of the earth, the traditions that come from other countries, other parts of the world where people see things a little differently, and there's tremendous wisdom. And my own background, as you heard perhaps in the introduction, is in the Buddhist tradition. But I found when I discovered Unity, there was such a deep spirituality to Charles and Myrtle Fillmore and their approach to spirituality through really getting to the essence of the teachings of Jesus. And one of the ways that I think Charles Fillmore summed the whole thing up was he said, each one of us should go straight to headquarters. Now, that basic idea that each one of us can connect with our own internal guidance system, our connection with the intuitive wisdom that is our true nature. Of course, for him, it was easy. That meant, well, I'll just ask Myrtle. But for the rest of us, I mean, for me, it's easy too. I can just ask Madeline. But for the rest of us, really, this is such an important point, I think. Spirituality is essentially the capacity to be guided by something other than the cultural program. And I think this is really an important point that we can explore a little bit together here this morning. The most important thing, I think, with spirituality is that we understand that we're not this body. That's the fundamental thing. And one of the main points in the cultural program is that this is what we are, right? This thing. And so if we are under that delusion that this is what we are, this physical body, that in the Buddhist tradition, that's called samsara. Samsara, it means suffering that will never end. Because when we're under that delusion of being a fundamentally separate self that was born and will die, this thing, this object, then we're in a struggle. We're trying to protect ourselves. We're trying to get what we want, keep away what we don't want. And if everybody's doing that under the same delusion, there's competition and all kinds of manipulation of each other to maneuver, to try to use each other as instruments to get what we want and keep away what we don't want. So the whole idea is that to escape that prison, we realize that what we are is what makes this possible, this outer object. And so that's waving, right? And so I remember when I learned, this is very interesting, that the historical Buddha in India, like 500 years ago, when he attained enlightenment and then this teaching started, there were several symbols for the Buddhist teachings. They never had this statue, like nowadays we think of the Buddha, we see these statues. That came hundreds of years later when the teaching spread to Greece, and the Greeks said, well, you got to have a statue of this guy, But they never thought of that. But they had like three main symbols. One was the tree. A tree is a very powerful symbol of the oneness of heaven and earth, in a sense, rooted in both, right? It's a very powerful spiritual symbol. Another was the wheel, the 8-spoked wheel for the Eightfold Path, and the wheel of the Dharma, and so forth. But the third one, I think, is very interesting. It was a footprint. And this really gets, I think, to what I'm saying, because if we go to the beach and we're walking along and we see a footprint in the sand, we don't go walking up to the footprint, hey, good morning, George, how are you doing this morning, We know that footprint is just something left by a being that we're not seeing right now. So we have to always remember when we see others, like right now, this is a footprint waving. We see footprints. We don't see the being. The being is not visible with our physical eyes. And when we understand that, then we can begin to look more deeply, and not only into others, but into ourselves, and realize that we are what makes this possible. We're the infinite and eternal consciousness that was never born and will never die. And we're somehow raised in a society that has forgotten that. It wants us to forget that, because if we forget that, then we become consumers. we become easily controllable, and so forth. But the whole idea of spirituality is it's about empowerment and it's about liberation. And it's about awareness and wisdom and compassion and kindness. Because when we see beyond the outer form and see the being, then we have this automatically the sense of solidarity. We see, yeah, the same thing that looks out of your eyes is looking out of my eyes. You know, that basic feeling that there's one life living through all of us. And when that awareness is living through us, then each one of us really becomes a healer. And I think that's what the unity movement is really about at its core, is healing. Healing by understanding our true nature and seeing that in ourselves, and then also seeing that in others. And when we do that, we actually naturally bless them without even trying, because we see beyond just whatever outer form, the shape, the race, the creed, whatever it is, the shoe size, we see the being. And when we see the being that is non-physical, that is eternal, then we bring forth the best in others. And we naturally do that in ourselves as well. But in order to do that, it takes quite a bit of work, inner work. And that's one of the things that, again, that Charles and Myrtle Fillmore emphasized, that it's not enough to just know the teachings in a sense, or think, read about it in a book. We need to put this into practice. I love that about Unity. It's the Church of Practical Christianity. We're practicing this. We're not just theorizing about it. And so that's very important, I think, to have, quite honestly, I think it's very important to have a regular daily practice, daily meditation practice or prayer practice, so that we're working with our mind, which is our instrument. We have this beautiful instrument. How many of you have a regular daily practice? Great. How many of you just don't raise your hands no matter what? I think a few of you probably. Because it's important to have a daily practice. I really want to recommend it, because we are being propelled by our upbringing. See, that's the thing. It's like as soon as we're when we're born here, we're little kids. As soon as we're born, we're like a sponge, and we just soak up everything. And their food becomes my food, and their attitudes become my attitudes, and their way of looking at everything and all their hang-ups, everything, they become mine, right? Our parents, teachers, friends, neighbors, we soak it all up. And so at a certain point, we can be going to church every day and so forth, but if we're still being driven by the cultural program, then spirituality isn't actually happening. Spirituality awakens in us when, instead of being propelled by the Walmart ads and what my parents told me I should do, by what my ministers told me I should do, not the Unity minister, but the other ministers, and what they told us I should do, and all these forces that are propelling us, when we actually begin, instead of that, to be propelled by our own inner wisdom, by what I call our intuition. We'll be giving a workshop this afternoon on intuition development. My PhD at Berkeley actually was in educating intuition in adults. And I think it's so liberating and really encouraging to realize that each one of us can develop this inner guidance system. And I think we all know in our bones that there's nothing more valuable than an inner knowing that we can learn to rely on and to trust to guide us to live our unique life. It doesn't mean that our life will always be easy. Like, we never have to worry, everything just naturally just happens and goes our way always. But it does mean that we're living our life, not somebody else's that we're supposed to, not wearing a mask and trying to fit in and be approved, and having this whole image that we're projecting all the time. We're living our own life. And I think when that happens, when our intuition is working and we're living our life, then we begin to connect with this inner wellspring of joy, this basic feeling of joy that's naturally ours. It's always there. But I think really we learn as we grow up to work pretty hard and continuously to just keep it completely hidden, so we're unaware of it, because we're always wishing I would have done that, and if only they would have done that, or what am I going to do if they do that? Or, our mind is continually preoccupied by the past and the future. And so this bubbling spring of joy gets held down, and we're not living our lives until this intuition starts kicking in, which is really the foundation of spiritual life. So I think, all of you who came here, whatever got you here is so precious. Something brought you to this space right now, your own story. And we have all these wounds in the past and all these things, but they're not that bad in the sense that they got us right here where we are right now, and we can be grateful for that. That's something we can really give thanks for. And so I want to say just a few words about what brought me here, my story, because I think it illustrates perhaps something that's happened for you also. And so I was born far away from here, up in New England, in Massachusetts, back in the 1950s. And I remember growing up, and it was kind of a neat place to grow up just because it had this history, right? Concord. One thing happened, if you remember, there was the Revolutionary War started there. So there was this whole tradition on April 19th, which was the day that the British, they started the war. And so every April 19th in 1775, hardly a man is now alive that remembers the day and year of the midnight ride of Paul Revere, that whole thing. So my father would get dressed up in his Minuteman outfit and get the gun off the wall, and we'd all go down and celebrate the Revolution and shoot at the redcoats. They were men that would dress up like British redcoats, and we'd send them back to Boston, and we would say, we're going to have freedom. Heck with all this. And so I grew up with this feeling of freedom, how important it is to really protect freedom, our political, economic, spiritual freedom. People gave their lives. We need to really see how valuable that is. And then later, at the same town, for some reason, in the mid-1800s, there was this other kind of a revolution, which is called the Transcendentalist movement or revolution. And this was Emerson. So I actually learned to swim in Walden Pond, and I went to Thoreau School and Alcott School and was born in Emerson Hospital. So there's this whole feeling of the Transcendentalists. And they were the first ones, actually, to bring the teachings of from Asia over to North America. Thoreau had the largest library of books on Taoism and Buddhism and Vedanta and all these things. And so they were, in many ways, bringing these teachings that Charles and Myrtle Fillmore also began to incorporate in the New Thought movement. For example, from the Buddhist tradition, the idea of God as an infinite mind, or from the Hindu tradition, God as equally female as male, or from the Taoist tradition, God as this principle that you can learn to just be in harmony with. The Tao is that Taoist idea that when we're in harmony with the principle that goes through everything, then our lives unfold. But this is something that we can practice. So these ideas really help to enrich and deepen, I think, the spiritual lives that were being touched by them back then. And for me, when I grew up, I wasn't really aware of all that so much, but when I went away to college in Maine in the early 1970s, and after a couple of years, I started exploring these teachings, and I really got excited, actually. I have to say, I was like, wow, this is really good. Because I was going through a lot. It was the Vietnam War, it was protests, everything was, and I was thinking, what am I going to do with my life? My father owned a whole chain of newspapers, and so I was kind of groomed to just take that over, and it was like this little empire in the media. So I learned from that to not trust the media, because I really figured out that, whatever they put in a newspaper on TV, it's just the advertisers. That's what you can't run a newspaper without advertisers, and if you make them upset, you're out of business. So now I understand, don't trust the media. But anyway, so I remember reading, Thoreau and Emerson, and that led me to several different things, and it led me to this book that some of you may be aware of. But I just loved it. For me, it was a kind of a turning point book called Cosmic Consciousness. It was written by this guy, this Canadian psychologist, way back in the 1890s. But he basically said, the main point really was that virtually everyone is living in what he called self-consciousness. In other words, we basically care about ourselves. And maybe, our family, whatever. But the basic idea is that we're kind of constrained, and our interest and our caring is about ourselves. And so that leads to various kinds of conflicts and so forth. But he said that there are certain people who had left that state of consciousness and had attained what he called cosmic consciousness. people that were the founders of religions. And he gave examples like Jesus and the Buddha and quite a few people, great prophets and sages and saints and mystics and poets, both men and women through the ages. He said this one. You can tell by their writings and by how they lived their lives. They had this moral elevation. They had this intellectual illumination and a loss of the fear of death. And they lived their lives really to bless everyone. They realized that we're really not separate. It's actually one life living through all of us. And the thing that really inspired me especially was he said, it is the destiny of every human being to attain cosmic consciousness. That's our purpose. And so I suddenly felt myself like, well, yeah, that resonated so deeply. So I remember going home at the breaks, and talking to my parents and saying, Mom, Dad, we're not here just to make money and try to do all these, jobs and things. We're here to attain cosmic consciousness, right? And I remember my father saying, well, that education is costing me quite a lot of money, and I don't know how that's going to help you get ahead in the world, really. So, but he did understand it. He actually taught me to play the piano, so and my mother was an artist, so there was some support for that. But to my delight, my younger brother, Ed, said, yeah, let's attain cosmic consciousness. We should do it. And so right after college, I graduated in 1975, we thought, okay, now what do we do? And we thought for a while, and then we knew what to do. We knew beyond the shadow of a doubt what to do. If you want to attain cosmic consciousness, it's easy. You just go to California. So, so I remember, we told our parents. My father actually gave us, their blessing, my mother and father, and my father actually even quoted Thoreau, said, every man must march to the beat of the drum that he hears, however measured or far away, So we walked down the driveway, I remember, with some fresh baked cookies from my mother and some little backpacks, and we headed west. And we thought, we're not gonna bring any money. We're just gonna do this like the sadhus of India. In India they would just walk and they would meditate and somehow be taken care of. And so we tried it out, we walked, and we had an amazing adventure. I mean, I could say, and it would take a long time, but basically we worked our way west, and after about maybe a month, we'd gotten as far as Buffalo. And in Buffalo, it was October, it was freezing. I remember thinking, all right, I have a bachelor's degree from a pretty good school. I better let's head south, Forget the west, we're gonna go south. We thought we'd just walk 15 or 20 miles a day and keep ahead of the cold front, So we did. So we walked down all the way through upstate New York, we got into Pennsylvania. We walked all the way across Pennsylvania on these little back roads, and we got into West Virginia and down through West Virginia. And when we got into West Virginia, they said, I remember the first little town we got to, when we crossed the border into West Virginia, they said, boys, you're in the Bible Belt now. And I had no idea what they meant, but I found out pretty quickly what that meant. That meant they tried to save you every night. Because we had no money, so what we were doing mainly was we were just sleeping on the floor of churches if we could, or sometimes in the woods somewhere. And it was autumn, so people had gardens, and they were giving us zucchinis and apples and whatever. We were somehow surviving, and we were meditating. We mainly wanted to meditate, and we had read about this great spiritual teacher from India named Ramana Maharshi, and he said, the main thing is to find out who you are. So I was thousands of times a day, I was going, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? I was walking along, but we found miracles happening. That was the neat thing, We just found we didn't starve to death. Somehow we would be willing to help people, and they helped us, and we made our way down through West Virginia into eastern Kentucky, into Appalachia. A few times we stayed in little cabins and little houses that they barely even had a floor. Some of them didn't even have a floor. It was just dirt. But they would help us, somehow. And I remember at one little church, they said, well, can you talk to our Sunday school kids? And so we said, all right, So we told the kids what really was our teaching. One of our main teachings was what Jesus said, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and everything else shall be added unto you. That basic idea, go for the spiritual. So we told that to the kids, that this is what we're doing. And we think, it's really the most important thing in your life. Don't get sidetracked too much. Try to go for the kingdom of heaven, the highest within you, and everything else, it'll be taken care of. And so the people were nice, and they gave us a donation of $30, I remember. And so back in 1975, that was something, you know. And I remember we walked along, and we it was time to have lunch, and there was a little restaurant there. And so back then, for 2 people, lunch was maybe $12. And so we gave the waitress an $18 tip, and we kept walking, you know. We just thought, you know, we're not going to hang on. Let every day take care of itself. You know, that idea, let every day take care of itself. So we ended up working our way down through Eastern Kentucky into Tennessee. We ended up eventually, it was kind of interesting, at a hippie commune south of Nashville. It was the largest hippie commune in the world in Summertown, Tennessee, called The Farm. And it was 900 people, and they were all from California. Thought, oh, they met us halfway, kind of, you know. And so we stayed there for a while, but then it felt like we heard about a Zen center in Alabama, down in Huntsville. So we walked down to Alabama, and we ended up in this Zen center. And then eventually from there, I eventually get out to San Francisco, and I was living at a Tibetan Buddhist center. And then I shaved my head, became a Zen Buddhist monk in Korea. You know, this whole thing happened. Ended up meeting my wonderful, beautiful partner, Madeline. We've been married for 30 years. I'm so blessed. And eventually, thank you. Yeah, it's really. But early on, I discovered unity, and I realized that this movement of unity is pure gold. It's got these very profound teachings that are based on the experience of healing and of raising the consciousness to a higher level of really what we call cosmic consciousness. And does it in a way that's accessible and empowering for everyone. And so I want to just kind of close this talk and move into the meditation just with this final word here that about joy. Because I remember I was walking on these little backcountry roads somewhere in West Virginia or Kentucky, and I would have these waves of joy washing over me. And it was so interesting because I had no reason to have any joy, right? I had no money, I had no security, I wasn't doing what my parents thought was a good idea or anybody thought was a good idea, but I was living my life. And I think all of us, if we're just living our life, if we're connecting somehow with our inner guidance system and living our life, then we will have this basic sense of joy or happiness and a sense of benevolence and gratitude. And it doesn't mean everything's easy, but we learn and we grow, and our life goes by quickly. Remember that. I mean, they talked to the oldest living human being a while ago. They gave her an interview, this woman, I think she was 119, living in Japan. They said, "What's it like to be 119? She said, "It just went by so fast." You know, so we have to realize that our life is very precious because it's temporary. And every day is a magnificent opportunity. So I want to thank all of you for making the effort, not only in your own inner personal lives, to awaken this higher consciousness, but to create a community that encourages everyone to do that. There's nothing more important than coming to this earth to do the inner work and then to help make sure that these precious teachings will go on to the next generation. If they die out, we'll die out. I mean, the spiritual teachings are the most important thing, but we can't spread them if we're not living them. So the inner work and then doing the work to create the community is a fantastic way to spend our lifetime, and to do that every day more and more fully is really a great gift to the universe. So I want to thank all of you for all of your efforts. And so this final closing, going into the meditation, I'd like to play a piece of music that goes along with some slides. And the melody, Madeline and I call this melody the mouse piece, because when we used to for a while, we lived in this little house way out on a dirt road in Northern California. When Madeline first came over I met her in Switzerland, and she heard me play, and she ended up liking the music and then liked me and came over and did the art for my CDs and everything. And so we were living in a little Volkswagen bus together. I mean, it was quite a story. But anyway, we got a little house, and the house was filled with mice. And so I would kind of catch them and take them across this little stream below the house and hope they didn't come running back in again, you know. And one day I had a little mouse on the piano. We had a grand piano that we were able to get, and I was playing to her, to this little mouse, and this beautiful melody came. And so I wrote it down. I'd like to share it with you now. And as I'm playing, hopefully, if it all works with the technical, there'll be some images on the screen behind me of animals celebrating their lives, because I think it's really important to remember that we human beings are not the only ones on this earth. There's a beautiful earth. How many of you have noticed that the earth is beautiful? Some of you? Yeah, it's so beautiful. You raise your hand, good. And I think when we remember that, it just creates in us a yearning to protect this beautiful earth for the animals, for each other, for our children, and it's a wonderful thing to do. So we call this our fellow passengers. Enjoy. Thank you very much. Very much. Thank you. Okay, so let's prepare for our meditation time. So let's become aware of our breathing. With every exhalation now, we just let go of any thoughts of the past, the future. Allow ourselves to enter more deeply into this present moment, the only holy moment is right now. So we give thanks for this beautiful sanctuary, for the land here and all the animals, all the people who helped make this outer sanctuary possible, knowing that this outer sanctuary is a manifestation of the inner sanctuary where we dwell always in unity with each other and with the infinite love that is the source of all life. And we give thanks for all of the teachers in our life, for all of the teachings of all the world's wisdom traditions that turn our minds away from the delusion of separateness to the truth of the infinite interconnectedness of all life. And we give thanks for all of our loved ones and for this beautiful earth and all of the forests and rivers and mountains, the oceans and prairies, for all of the animals celebrating their lives in the waters and in the air and on the earth, and for the whole human family on a great adventure of awakening to the truth that we are. And we give thanks knowing that the light that shines at the very heart of the universe is shining right now in our heart and is shining in every cell of our being, bringing every dimension of our life into harmony and into alignment with our purpose and with the truth that we are. And we give thanks knowing that we have a unique purpose and mission for this lifetime. And we just allow now the music to deepen our connection with the truth that we are. So now we take a moment and just enter into the silence together. Abiding in our true home abiding in love, abiding in compassion, abiding in joy, abiding in peace, abiding in gratitude, abiding in abundance, abiding in truth, abiding in awareness. May all beings be happy and at peace. May all beings be free. May we all realize the original brightness of our minds and hearts. And may we continue to work together to build a more enlightened society, a world that cares for everyone, a world that reflects the truth of the inner Christ shining in our hearts through the power and presence of the infinite spirit of truth and love. We give thanks knowing this is so, and so it is.
This is Mike O'Ray. And I know that St. Patty is mighty proud of this congregation of replicants today that have found their pot of gold beneath the rainbow arches of this church. Now is our opportunity to support our spiritual community and experience the power of giving and receiving with our offering. I see that the ushers have already come forward. There are a number of ways for you to give, and they are showing on your screen. Whether you are giving through our app, mailing a check, text to give, in person or online, we are grateful for your generosity and know that it will return to you tenfold. If you give electronically through our recurring giving, we have cards in the pew that you can use to activate the power of your generosity. Pick one up while we speak our offering affirmation together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I circulate, and I am grateful.
Remember me in stillness, let all your doing cease. Remember me, I'll bring you perfect peace. Remember me in silence, let not a sound be heard. Remember me, within you lives my word. Hear my voice, know I'm with you now. I'm with you here. In your dark
we give thanks for the abundance of these gifts for this ministry, and we bless these gifts to the continuing work of this ministry for the healing and blessing of our community and our world. Bring forth the awakening of consciousness for peace, love, and healing on our earth. We give thanks knowing this is so, and so it is. Thank you.
Do you know anyone who would benefit from encouragement and an invitation to our spiritual home for the Easter season? If you have been blessed by Unity's spiritual community and would like to share it with someone, we can assist you. We've created Share Spirit Care packages for you to give. They'll be in the foyer for you to pick up after the service. Dr. Will Tuttle and Madeline will present their workshop, Opening the Intuitive Gate, this afternoon. The workshop will begin at 1:15. You may register at the door. A light lunch will be provided for attendees. Tomorrow evening at 7, Dr. Tuttle and Madeline will be back here in the sanctuary to present Piano Passion, Concert for World Peace. Both today's workshop and tomorrow's concert are presented on a love offering basis. Invite a friend. Please register online. We Wisdom is taking applications for a lead preschool teacher. Applicants must have at least 1 year of experience in a licensed preschool. If you or anyone you know are interested in applying, check the website or contact Carrie Monk, We Wisdom Director. The Course in Miracles one-day retreat will be held in Legacy Suite on Saturday, April 6th. Visit the website for more information and to register. Don't miss this day of miracles and connection. Next Sunday, for the 8:30 contemplative Palm Sunday service, grab a cup of coffee and join Reverend Jean Lean in Legacy Suite or on Facebook for her lesson, Palms at Your Feet. In the 11:30 Palm Sunday service, in the sanctuary or online, Reverend Cynthia Vermillion Foster explores the meaning of Jesus' entrance into Jerusalem. As spring blooms around us, our preparations for the sacred Easter season are in full swing. Make plans to invite a friend and join us for Easter services, potluck luncheon activities. If you would like to lend a hand, sign-up sheets for volunteer teams are in the foyer. Good Friday service is on March 29th at 7 p.m. in the sanctuary. Please join us for this sacred communion and anointing gathering. On Easter Sunday, rise and shine for the sunrise service at 6:45 a.m. on the pavilion. The contemplative Easter service is at 8:30 a.m. Will be in Legacy Suites, and the contemporary Easter service in the sanctuary will begin at 10:30 a.m. instead of 11:30. This year, we invite you to bring an Easter lily to church to place on the platform at 10 a.m. Then take one home with you after the activities.
Hello again. So I'm speaking on behalf of the Core Values team. I was a part of this team. It was a beautiful team that came together shortly after our Core Values workshop that we all shared in Friendship Hall. And so I'm here to kind of encourage your engagement to the UCOH's Divine Identity, Exploring Our Vision and Mission. In January, our community came together to explore our divine identity through a core values process. Our core values team has been working on creating deeper understanding and meaning for 3 words that rose to the surface during that time: spirit-centered, love, and inclusion. The culmination of this work will be shared soon, and everyone will be given an opportunity to provide input. You can read more about our transformational journey on Rev Cynthia's blog or see this week's newsletter. This Saturday, March 23rd, we will take another step. It's actually next Saturday, forward in our identity process by exploring our vision and mission. This will be a collective journey of understanding the power and purpose of having vision and mission statements, an exploration of what our current statements mean to us, and discernment about how those statements are alive in our community today. This will be Saturday, March 23rd, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., Friendship Hall. It is a love offering workshop, and we will break for 1 hour lunch. There's a link to the registration that you may find on the calendar or in the registration page.
On Tuesday, March 26th, you are invited to join us as we host our Turkish Muslim friends for the 14th year in a row, having been the first faith community to host an iftar meal in the Austin area. Now our dear friends meet at different faith communities every night of Ramadan, a true testimony to how far we have come in interfaith understanding and inclusion. Ramadan is the holiest month in the Islamic calendar and a time when Muslims focus on prayer, charity, and thanking God. In addition, Muslims fast from dawn to sunset, and the fast breaking is a truly sacred moment, which we are invited to share in. We'll gather at 6:45 p.m. for a short presentation, and sunset is at 7:47 p.m., when we will join together in a delicious meal provided by our Turkish Muslim friends, followed by delightful conversation. Be sure to RSVP today, as space is limited.
Hi. Today, I'm standing here wearing a purple stole and serving as a prayer chaplain. But 8 years ago when I came to Unity, my prayer practice was weak. It was so weak, it was WEEK week. And I wouldn't say grace with my family. I was afraid to pray. I didn't really pray very much, or at least in the sense that I purposely prayed. And then when I first came here, in the video I mentioned that I prayed with Lance, and that was the first time I ever heard an affirmative prayer. And I'll never forget it. He said, "There is no you, there is no me, there's only God." And from that day to this one, that has been in my life. And almost every prayer I pray has some element of that in it. And so I invite you, if you haven't, or if you're just thinking about it but not sure, to take advantage of this. We are starting actually this week, on Thursday, I believe, having an affirmative prayer practice class titled Affirmative Prayer for Everyday Life. And so I encourage you, if you've been thinking about it, you're not sure, please sign up, please come and join us. There is not one, not two, not three, but 7 other prayer chaplains who are going to be in the class with us. So there'll be plenty of people to practice with, plenty of people to talk about prayer, enjoy the book, understand it a little better. So please come and join us. And speaking of prayer, the prayer chaplains will be in the chapel right after the service. If you have a prayer, please come and join us. We'll be happy to pray with you. If you're online or at any time you're not here with us, you can always call Silent Unity. The number's up at the top. And if you can't remember, the number's online as well. And so with that, we'd like to say goodbye to all our online participants. Thank you for joining us, either now live or whenever you see this. We love you.
The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.